paradise. It's paradise by the beach.
This is Granity on the west coast. Paradise to Simon Brook, but a place some say is being eaten by the sea.
Twice in 20 years there's been kind of a large event where there's been a bit of a fuss around the place and water has come right in.
Do you have a vibe on climate change?
You got rocks in your head if you don't think it's happening.
Simon doesn't have insurance. He got annoyed when his insurer wouldn't pay out the full amount when his laptop broke.
I'd given them tens of thousands of dollars over the years, so I just thought, bugger you, and I insured myself.
How did you insure yourself?
I built myself a rock wall.
What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking large.
How many tons of rocks are here?
There's 900 tonne there. They're all 10 to 14 tonne each.
That's your insurance policy against the sea?
Yeah, sure is. Got my $1 million view and able to sleep well.
What message do you think this gives to insurance companies?
I don't know if we'll probably say that on camera.
Just say it.
Get
Building your own wall might sound extreme, but Simon isn't alone. 30 minutes down the road is Westport. Next to the Buller River, it is a town under threat. In 2018 and again in 2021, hundreds of homes were flooded.
Half a metre of water in there, everything was pretty much wrecked. Cot, photo box, yeah, all gone. Still a bit raw to this day, to be honest.
What sort of information did you have about flooding risk when you bought this place?
There was nothing on my limb from memory.
How are you feeling about rain after that?
Yeah, we don't like rain much.
So Troy Scanlon put up some protection.
We built a flood wall. So we've got a black plastic film at the back of it that runs all the way down the back of the wall.
Right, and how do you cover the front?
We've bought a big steel wall that's obviously can be put up, so effectively we create enclosed square.
I've never seen anything like this before in New Zealand in my life.
Yeah.
What does this do for you as a homeowner?
Well, I suppose it gives us some peace of mind. We obviously don't know if it's going to work. We're fairly confident it will.
Ballpark, how much does this cost?
I think probably in even terms about 100,000.
Shivers.
Eventually, Westport will be surrounded by walls. The council is building 16 kilometres of stop banks.
What's the worst case scenario?
I think the worst case scenario is another major event before the flood protection is built. There's insurance cover for most people at the moment, but I mean that would be the last throw of the dice for those claims, particularly around flooding. What we are seeing is a doubling of the insurance premiums for a number of houses in town, which is unsustainable for many.
Here's a scenario. The government adopts no more buyouts. Insurance is either through the roof in here or pulling out altogether. You've got a number of people who are mortgaged and their houses aren't worth what they paid for them. Does that sound like a realistic scenario to you for Westport, and does that worry you?
That's a scenario that is very real if we don't act, and that's why we're acting in terms of trying to achieve that, that alternative so that there is hope, there is options for people. Yeah, so the risk of buyer beware is you create effectively, a society of haves and have-nots, or the risk of slumification, which is a horrific word. It sounds terrible, but effectively it's that the smart money is moved to higher ground.
The council's plan is to get some of the town to move.
So it's about how we try and not leave people behind.
And not everyone is convinced.
What do you think of the plans to move part of the town?
Oh, no, that's, yeah. I don't know, it's been a bit bloody. It's as sad as it is, it'll have to happen, won't it? It'll flood again, bro. Yeah. But yeah, the whole town's doomed, isn't it?
The whole town's doomed?
Yeah, pretty much, bro.
Yeah. All right, mate.
You have a good day.
Skeptical residents have been part of a documentary called Managed Out.
Our government is now in the business of writing laws for compulsory land acquisition and preparation for disasters that haven't yet happened.
It's made by Reality Check Radio, which questions climate change policy.
Well, there's some very, very good people on it. I was one of them. And I'm fully aware of the flooding problems we've had are caused by government And our councils that are trying to blame it on the weather, it's just ridiculous.
What do you think is going to happen under this scenario if it continues?
Slum town.
But Jane Duncan, who has been flooded twice, says it is vital for Westport's future.
You know, it'd be great for our kids to be able to look back and say, oh, someone had the foresight to do that. You know, so Westport's still here.
4 years on from the floods, a weather warning brings huge anxiety.
That feeling when you get one, the pit of your stomach, that kind of cold sweat, yeah.
That's what you're feeling now, even thinking about a red weather warning.
I'm feeling emotional about it.
You are. Well, it's okay to feel like that. You've been through hell because of weather.
Well, and also just seeing what's happening in other parts of the country brings it all home.
You've got a beautiful home here. When you brought it, did you realise that you were at so much risk?
No, we were aware that it is near the estuary, so we got the LIM report.
A LIM is a Land Information Memorandum, the key council document showing risks and hazards for a home.
I went into council and I checked the flood mapping. So the LIM says here, under special land features, it should be noted that the dwelling and sheds are outside of a flood area.
It's there in black and white.
Yep.
And you got water up to here.
We did.
What's the future for you? Can you sell this place to someone else?
Would I want to? Would I want to put someone else in our position? Not until there's protection in place. Who would buy it anyway? Do you want a house in Westport?
If you could get out of here, you would.
Yeah.
And that hurts you to say that. It took you a lot of courage to say that. But if you could get out of this house with your family,
and don't get me
would.
wrong, I love this house. I love my home. I've got memories here. But I just don't think I could go through that again.
Okay, wow. Welcome back to Paddy Gower Has Issues. Now tonight, Laura Tupou and I are investigating the unprecedented rise in home insurance costs and the damage that it is doing to Kiwi families. So right now, it is time to go behind the issue. Okay, so insurance premiums have skyrocketed. Since the year 2000, home insurance has gone up 890%. That means it is almost 10 times as much as it was, and way more. It's gone up way more than any other commodity like cigarettes and booze. In the past 3 years, premiums have gone up 47%, and Wellington, you guys are paying top dollar for insurance, twice as much as Auckland and about 50% more than Canterbury. Now, New Zealand is ranked the second riskiest country when it comes to natural disasters, sitting only behind flood-prone Bangladesh. And after the Auckland anniversary floods, insurance claims reached almost $2 billion. Then Cyclone Gabrielle racked up almost another $2 billion bill. And the Insurance Council says they were number one and number two on the list of the largest insurance weather events in New Zealand's history. Now, a new government report is out and it suggests that in 20 years' time, all taxpayer-funded buyouts after weather events should be stopped. You will be on your own, except for insurance. But can we afford to keep paying for our premiums? Well, increasingly, no. Consumer NZ's report, released today, surveyed 1,000 people and found that 17% have cancelled or not renewed their house insurance in the past year. But the worst part could come with your house value. Say that you bought a house at the average price in New Zealand of about $770K and you've got an average mortgage of about $590K. Now, if you are in an area vulnerable to weather events, your insurance premiums start to rise and it puts people off buying in your area. The value of your $770K home drops down towards the amount of your mortgage or even below. You could end up owing more than your house is worth. That is called negative equity. It is called the equity trap. And in its report, Consumer NZ talks about expensive premiums, dropping rates of insured houses and virtually unsellable homes. They say this scenario will damage the entire economy and they call it insurance market failure. And in some more alarming news, if you need it, top climate economist Belinda Story has just warned the government, telling Treasury that climate risks are not factored into house prices.
as a rough rule, they're probably overvalued by 30 to 40%, which is less than the amount of appreciation in property values that we've had in recent times. So effectively, property values in most hazardous locations need to go back to where they were 10 or 20 years ago.
And you don't need to have been flooded for your premiums to start rising. In many places, they already are. One place is Petone in Wellington, where locals are already getting hit with big insurance bills.
Across the water from Wellington's CBD, along the edge of the Hutt Valley, is the seaside suburb of Petone.
Hello, hi. Laura.
Hi, Rochelle.
You've got such a beautiful home.
Thank you.
It's where the Gracie family calls home.
Love the old house and love the character.
And we like doing things up, so room by room we've been going around and sort of putting it back to the old character.
When they bought it 9 years ago, insurance premiums cost $200 a month.
Ran like that for a couple of 3 years, and then it sort of doubled. It went up, to $400 or $500 a month. Then it went up to $600-700 a month, and then last year they gave us a price of like $950 a month.
Putting it up by 42% is in one jump is way too much for people to handle.
What did you do when you were told that was what you were going to have to pay?
Yeah, we rang up the insurance company, didn't we? And
yeah, I wanted to write it down. I wanted to see year by year how much it had increased and wrote it down on a piece of paper so I could actually see it in front of me, and it was ridiculous.
And the insurance company said one of the reasons the prices have gone up is because we're more prone to natural disasters or flooding.
So they tried to switch insurer.
Yeah, we've been on a journey definitely of ringing around all the other insurance companies, and no one else will cover this house. So there's the common response I get is we're not offering coverage in that area, or we're not taking on any new customers in that area. So no one will cover us, and we're locked in with who we've got, and they keep putting the price up. So we're kind of stuck really. There's nothing you can do about it. Bank says must have insurance. Insurance company is the only one that'll give insurance. You're trapped.
How are you managing things at the moment financially?
Oh, we're lucky, I suppose, that we're not, we can afford to rejig our budget to make it work. But if it goes up more than where it currently is, then we're looking at either sacrificing, it's not quite food versus insurance, but it's getting pretty close. We'll have to make some tough decisions if it goes up.
The Gracies, like many others around the country, are paying a premium for a hazard they are yet to experience. But what could happen, and what are insurers worried about? We tried to track down all the official information we could through the council's websites.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Look at that.
Yeah, but what does
But
that
so is
mean?
Wainui.
But these guys are okay, and these guys are okay.
What does it mean? It's a very good question. This map is ambiguous, and that plays right into the hands of the insurance companies who use it as a reason for increasing risk and increasing premiums on people's houses. Like, this is perfect for them because it's unclear, and they can just use that vagueness to justify rate increases. And the two maps show two different things. They're different colours, they're different. This one shows the sea being flooded, which kind of doesn't make sense.
It's confusing, it's technical, it's difficult to interpret, even the experts struggle. Climate economist Belinda Story was a guest presenter at Treasury recently and shared her frustrations.
So even the data that we do have, it is not accessible. It is not accessible to the public, it's not accessible to most researchers, and it's not accessible to small to medium businesses. Information is available from the Earth Science Institute if you have enough money. And the entities that tend to have the money to pay for that would be the insurers and some of the banks.
Consumer NZ has just completed an extensive investigation into the insurance market. They say there needs to be consistency in the information available.
We all need to know and agree on the base data that is reliable before we can make decisions, and if one party's holding a big chunk of that data, it creates an unequal playing field. So it would be much easier to make future decisions if we were all singing from the same songbook essentially and had access to the same data.
She says the lack of transparency makes it difficult for anyone to understand why insurers are hiking up premiums.
We actually hired an economist to go through the publishable annual reports of the insurers, and we couldn't quite get to the bottom of it. After the 2023 events, they did take a financial hit, but they all still made a profit.
That's despite more people ditching their insurance. Consumer NZ's survey of 1,000 homeowners found 17% had cancelled their house insurance.
And that's up 10% since 2022. So we're seeing sort of a slow and steady increase in people dropping house insurance because of cost.
And although the Gracies are still insured, they've reduced their cover so they can pay a more manageable $650 a month.
I mean, there'll come a point where people just simply can't afford it. And so, I mean, like, you squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, eventually something's going to pop.
Communities have been cut off and evacuations are underway as New Zealand is lashed by a severe weather system.
Some parts of Tasman have had nearly half a year's rain in just 2 weeks. A state of emergency remains in place for Nelson and Tasman and part of Marlborough after heavy rain has pelted the top
When
of
the
the
chaos
south,
of the storm fades, a heavy silence takes its place. And the damage is everywhere you turn. Twisted trampolines, buildings torn from their foundations, household items scattered like toys. The markers of just how high the water climbed and how unstoppable it was.
There was strong current, really strong current.
You've lived here all your life.
Yep.
Have you seen anything like this before?
Not to this extent.
Okay, now it's starting to get a bit serious. The river's breached. My gumboots are full of water. And we're trying to get the cars out.
When the nearby Motueka River rose and reached the first cottage on the property, the Beatson family acted quickly, gathered the stock and took them to higher ground.
And within 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour had gone from just coming through to being knee-deep, where I wasn't too sure if I'd get the four-wheeler through.
Looking back, Guthrie Beatson is pragmatic. He's seen it flood here in 1957 and 83.
By definition, these are floodplains, so they've been built by flood and silt and all that gives them their fertility, so...
Would you ever leave?
No. The river, it's kind most of the time. Swim in there and it's, you know, it's been all my life really, has been the river. But some now and then it will bite.
20 minutes away in Dovedale, Ali Newell and her family of 6 are assessing the damage after the first devastating storm.
You can kind of see the line down there on the plywood where it's come up.
How are you feeling?
Overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. And it wasn't like any flooding that we had experienced in 3 years here, or our neighbours in 50 plus years. So a totally different level of water and chaos than we're used to.
Does it change the fact that you want to keep living? You know what I mean? Like, does it change anything like that?
Yes and no. If you asked me yesterday when I was having a moment, I'd say yes, absolutely. But I could also not live in the city. Like, I have ducks and we've got a dog and a cat, and yeah, we like the lifestyle.
A week after talking to Ali, a second major storm barreled through the Tasman district. And this time, it didn't spare their family home.
You've got water right there at the back of the house, and it's gone inside the house at the front.
They're hoping to salvage the house, but they won't be able to live here until sometime next year.
There's a lot of current here.
Up in Wellington, there's also been damage. The region's had hundreds of slips, like this one, which struck Deborah East's Island Bay home in July.
And as soon as I saw it, I knew we had to evacuate because the deck at the back was split. Clearly it was going to collapse, bringing the stuff down.
You can see the slip here. Thankfully there's nobody in the way at the time, although our dog happened to get trapped in here and somehow miraculously escaped unscathed, though a little traumatised.
I was shaking. I just didn't know what to do.
So tell me what happened when you returned to the house.
We made a couple of trips in and out, and then one random 20-centimetre rock came down on the south side and whacked into the back of my leg. And I screamed and managed to drag myself in the door, but I really thought I'd broken my leg. It was pretty horrible.
It was the last thing Deborah and her husband could imagine when they bought their distinctive dream home during lockdown.
I just went, wow. The boat on the front, it's just quirky, individualistic, and right on the water. I just loved it.
As a former real estate agent, she did all the right checks, got the limb, there were no red flags.
But half Wellington is on cliffs. There's nothing on the limb. There's nothing to say that that piece of hillside is more vulnerable than any other hillside in Wellington.
The couple are now living in a rental property, working through what will happen next to their dream home.
So I'm not sure at this stage how much funding there's going to actually be to do the remediation. It may end up being at our own cost.
Yeah, how are you feeling about it all? Because it's challenging.
Oh, it is challenging. It's almost like I've been told to move on. Yeah, it was the dream house. Definitely was the dream house.